For nearly 5 years, people thought they might never see Sinbad again. The legendary comedian, who once brought laughter into every home, had disappeared from the spotlight after a devastating stroke in 2020. Fans prayed, but deep down, many feared the worst. You won't believe how close he came to being another Hollywood name remembered only in past tense. Let me tell you, his story was not just about a health crisis, it was about how destiny took an unexpected turn that no one saw coming. Sinbad was not just another actor, he was a giant of the 90s. From Jingle all the way to First Kid in his unforgettable role in A Different World, he became a household favorite, proving that comedy didn't need profanity or shock value. His clean jokes, big smile, and warm presence made him a rare kind of star. Families trusted him, children adored him, and adults respected him. What makes this story different is that, unlike many other comedians, he had built his fame on being safe and timeless. But the craziest part was how quickly Hollywood moved on when he was no longer in the spotlight. In October 2020, Sinbad's entire world collapsed. A blood clot traveled from his heart to his brain, triggering a massive stroke. His family later admitted that his survival was uncertain from the very first moment. Behind carefully chosen words in their statements, the truth was much darker. Doctors were not sure he would live, and even if he did, they believed he would never walk or speak the same way again. But here is the shocking part. For months, there were no updates, no headlines, no Hollywood support. The industry that once celebrated him stayed silent. Fans were left wondering if Sinbad had already become another forgotten legend. This is where it gets interesting because what happened in those quiet years would later shock everyone. Sinbad was fighting battles most people never knew about. He underwent multiple surgeries, faced infections, and had to relearn simple things like walking, eating, and even talking. At one point, he could not hold his head up without help. Imagine a man who once commanded stages worldwide, now struggling just to take a step. His family revealed that recovery was not measured in days or weeks, but in painful years. They leaned on faith and prayers, believing that Sinbad's destiny was not finished yet. And while fans prayed from afar, many wondered if the silence meant the end. But destiny was preparing something else, and you won't believe who stepped into his life at the most crucial moment. When everyone thought Sinbad's story was closing forever, destiny took an unexpected turn. Out of nowhere, Tyler Perry, one of the most powerful names in Hollywood, stepped into the picture. You won't believe how this connection changed everything. Perry, known for giving second chances to actors that Hollywood often overlooked, reached out and offered Sinbad not just support, but a role in his upcoming thriller, Straw. Let me tell you, this was not just another casting decision, it was a lifeline. What makes this story different is that Sinbad was not simply returning to the screen, he was returning after surviving what most people never do. The craziest part was that Perry believed Sinbad could bring something to the film that no one else could, real strength born from real pain. But here's the shocking part. When Perry first made this offer, many insiders doubted if Sinbad could even handle it. He was still recovering, still working through therapy, still learning how to move without help. Critics whispered that it was a risky move, that audiences might not accept seeing a weakened version of the man they once knew. Yet, Perry stood firm, saying Sinbad's presence would add a level of truth no actor could fake. And he was right. This is where it gets interesting because Sinbad's recovery was not just physical, it was emotional and spiritual. Each day on set became another step forward in proving to the world and to himself that he was still alive in every sense of the word. Behind the scenes, his family continued to play a massive role. They made sure he kept up with his therapy, they prayed with him, and they gave him the courage to keep going even when the pain felt unbearable. Fans who had almost given up hope began to see glimpses of him again. Short updates, rare pictures, and finally, the moment when he appeared in public for the first time since his stroke. The world had doubted, but Sinbad had been quietly preparing for this moment. And destiny, as if written in a movie script, was about to give him a stage that no one saw coming. When Sinbad finally showed himself again after years of silence, the reaction was overwhelming. His first public appearance came through a Different World cast reunion, and you won't believe how emotional it was. Fans who had grown up watching him could hardly hold back tears when they saw his smile again. Let me tell you, this was not just another celebrity showing up on a screen. This was living proof that miracles happen. The craziest part was that despite everything he had endured, Sinbad carried the same warmth and humor that once made him a household name. Destiny took an unexpected turn that day because the man people thought they had lost forever was sitting in front of them, speaking, laughing, and proving he was still here. But here is the shocking part. Behind those smiles were years of painful struggles. His family revealed he had to relearn how to walk, how to talk, even how to eat. At one point, doctors didn't know if he would make it through the night. And now, here he was, alive, recovering, and ready to face the world again. This is where it gets interesting because when Sinbad said miracles happen, it wasn't just a line, it was his truth. He had been through a storm most people never come back from, and yet he sat there, stronger than ever. Fans erupted online, calling him an inspiration and thanking him for teaching them that hope should never die. What made this story different was how his return touched people far beyond Hollywood. It wasn't just about seeing a beloved comedian again. It was about seeing resilience, faith, and survival in its rawest form. Thousands of fans flooded social media with posts saying they cried when they saw him, and fellow comedians praised him for not giving up. Critics admitted that his comeback wasn't just a career move, it was a cultural moment, a reminder that legends don't fade away, they fight their way back. And just when everyone thought this was the peak of his journey, destiny had prepared an even bigger stage for him, one that would shock the world once again. Stepping back into Hollywood after nearly losing everything was more than just a career revival for Sinbad, it was a statement. When he walked onto the set of Tyler Perry's Straw, you won't believe the energy he carried. Cast members described him as uplifting, always joking, and always spreading positivity, even during intense scenes. Let me tell you, this was not the broken man doctors once doubted would survive. This was Sinbad proving that destiny took an unexpected turn in his favor. What makes this story different is that his presence on screen was not just acting, it was lived experience. Every glance, every pause, every bit of humor carried the weight of a man who had battled death itself and returned. But here's the shocking part. Critics and fans were not just watching a film, they were watching a miracle unfold before their eyes. His comeback dominated headlines. Sinbad defies the odds. Comedy legend makes miraculous return. The craziest part was how emotional audiences became, calling it more than entertainment, but a celebration of life. Social media exploded with clips of him laughing with fellow actors, and younger performers admitted that working beside him felt like learning from a true survivor. This is where it gets interesting because Hollywood, known for casting aside its legends, now stood in awe of a man who had fought his way back from the brink. His story was no longer just about comedy or even survival. It became about hope. Fans saw that age, illness, and industry rejection could not define a true legend. His family's faith, his fans' prayers, and his unshakable will had carried him through the darkest tunnel into the light once again. In many ways, Sinbad was no longer just a comedian. He was a symbol that miracles do happen, that even when the world counts you out, you can rise again. And as he stood there, smiling for cameras, embracing the applause, it was clear that this was not the end of his story. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one filled with resilience, faith, and inspiration that will echo for generations